We did it.
We did it!
Yay, it skipped one for me.
Oh, did it?
It'll either count up or skip one. Just to throw me off.
Interesting.
It'll go from 6, 7, 5, 4, or I'll just skip one.
It's not necessary, I guess. Hello! No one in the audience, but potential future listeners.
Hi, potential future listeners.
Yeah. I am Mystic, Sierra, she, her. I am your DM and your leader of this crazy utopia adventure. And I have Ed with me.
Sup? I am, as she said, I'm Mystic. I'm not Mystic. You're Mystic. I'm Edward. I'm also Livy. And I'll also be another one-shot character who has not been revealed yet.
So excited for next Monday.
Yeah, he's another very serious, smart character. Or they are, at least.
Smart. So smart.
They're so intelligent. It's difficult playing a character that's just so smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, I'm so excited. I finished editing both of the episodes this weekend, and I know I was messaging you all on Discord about all the little moments, but there were so many little moments, and I say it every time. I miss so much, like when I'm actively DMing in session, and then I literally just sit here and laugh out loud at my desk while I edit everything. It's a blast.
We had an amazing crew. It was awesome. And we had very extreme characters, and it was really good. You let all of us, I think, get away with a little too much, and it was great.
I did leave in the one moment when you were like, "You've given us so many chances, and I'm so grateful for that." Oh man, yeah, it was fun, but cool. We're gonna talk about episodes 4. Let me double check my notes here. A few different episodes, and then get into questions. But first off, airborne sounds. It's Edward's birthday today.
Yay!
What have you done for your birthday?
Work.
Oh yeah.
But yesterday was the real celebration. I went on a boat and I saw dolphins.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's awesome.
It was very good. There was a baby and it went on its stomach and then it swam away.
I've never seen a dolphin in real life. I've never been to like a tropical or like a warm beach.
I don't like where I live. There's a lot of bigots, but but the location's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I visited my dad and he's having a midlife crisis, so he got a boat. And I abused that.
Nice.
And I wrote it. And there's like little tiny islands where people stop.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, like, we pulled up next to like this other boat. And they just kind of released their dog. He had like a tracker on. She had a tracker on her, so she was fine. But like, she just kept on following us with like a ball in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent like 10 minutes just throwing a ball for this random dog.
I love it.
It was really good. It was really quality.
Speaking of dogs, okay, let's get into some episodes, some thoughts and feelings. So the last episode we talked about with Austin and Avis was the Castle in the Woods episode where the party splits off and you all have that interaction with the street peddler.
Yeah.
Which I loved. What were you thinking as I started describing that person and you were with Keg and Zippa?
I was thinking that I accidentally made the only adult in the room, and I was really disappointed with myself. I thought Livy, because of his voice and his very goofy mannerisms, would be the goofier character, and then I realized we're all buck wild, and that was just not going to happen.
Yeah. It's funny when even Leah Fritsch is the straight man. I would say.
Yes, very much so. He does it very well.
Yeah, in character creation, I definitely was like, "Oh, Levy's the straight man. That's what's gonna happen." Yeah. Nope.
But yeah, it also came. I'm from a bigger city, and I think that came from my I don't want this. There's been so many instances of people with trying to pawn CDs off, and I usually don't pay attention to my surroundings, so I take them, and then they try to extort me. And I'm like, now give us $30, and I'm like, oh no, I should have been paying attention to my surroundings.
I've definitely been that New York City tourist that got the Buddhist temple beads put on my wrist, and they're like, okay, now give me $5. And I just straight up am like, I don't have any cash. Sorry, dude. And then I walk away, and they're not happy about it most of the time.
I've started saying I don't believe in cash.
And
And that really confuses them. And I just start making stuff up, and then they walk away from me because they have other people to scam.
Yeah, it's really hard where I live. There's a huge homeless population or a houseless population. It's a big problem. And so if we're leaving restaurants or things and I have leftovers, I'm super happy to just give them to someone if I see them. Because, that's a good deed. But I don't ever carry cash. So it's I will put food in the free food refrigerators and things and donate, important things in that way. But they still stop you for cash. And I always feel bad.
Yeah, I thankfully work in a job where I get tips. And I'm not going to put that in the bank because I'm not a responsible adult. So if I don't, so it'll either go to gas or something else. And I have, whenever I get off the highway, there's a lot of homeless people just standing around, and I have a light that literally takes 3 minutes. So we just I'll roll down my window and we'll talk. And if I have cash, I'll give someone a $10 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, you definitely led this party away from the street peddler.
I tried really hard.
Yeah, I think Anchor tried to start a fight with you then. And he was just saying that things were not to ignore them, or I forget exactly what it was, but Hudson's an interesting personality, that's for sure. We'll get into that a little bit more. But after you left the street peddler, Leo Fritz joined the party, and he told you that he had met a princess, and Levy's mind was blown.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because Livy is the only person actually from the city. So right now, they actually have the most knowledge out of everyone, which is probably not going to last very long, because this is just the starting city. So it's really funny to play a character who actually is in the know. And I also, Mystic did a really cool thing where she gave us a bunch of these. You can pick one friend. They gave us a lot, and she gave us a lot of information. And I was actually really considering this princess before. I'm like, would he actually know a princess? Would any of our weirdos actually know a princess?
That's what's fun about it. But I was just going to ask you that because in that session moment, I, as the DM, was thinking, oh shit, does Ed actually know who this person is? Did Ed actually read the handouts for the friends?
Yeah, I read all of them.
Okay, great. Because
every single one. I read every single one.
I made it pop up on the screen in Roll20 as I'm describing to Ed who Leah Fritsch has, met with. And I'm just like, oh Damn it. Does he know what this is about? I don't know.
I specifically remembered, because I'm bad with names, I specifically remembered, I think she has like a little like cat.
Yeah.
Well, not little, it's giant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a giant cat. And I'm like, oh, that's the princess because she's a cat lady. She's a crazy cat princess.
Sorry, I think my French press is leaking. Anyway, just gonna pour me a nice cup of tea.
Rip. It's fine.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I really love that interaction. And then Ziba was like, everyone's met a princess but me? Which made it even better. And then Livy, you like kind of like took the spotlight of like that half of the party for part of this episode. You went and talked to a guard in their flashy pink uniforms.
I think his name is Craig. I wrote it down.
I think his name is Carl, and the only reason I think that is because for some reason when I get NPC names in my head, I just like, even if I don't know, it's just like in my subconscious, because the next session I ran with my non-podcast group, I used that same name, and I was like, wait, did I use this already?
I think you're right. I don't have the notes in front of me, and I could bring it up, but I'm scared I'll break my camera if I touch my computer. So I'm just not doing that.
Yeah, I think his name was Carl, which was cool. Goliath guard in all pink named Carl.
He had a crush.
He did think Livy was quite handsome, which is how you describe him yourself. So
I don't know. I think he's very flamboyant in the way he dresses. Like the royal blues, and like you definitely see him and you're like, this guy, I want to punch this guy.
Livy also wears royal blue.
Yeah, I loved. I listened to all of the interviews. I have a hard time actually listening to our own podcast because I don't like the sound of my own voice.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I've been listening to all the parts that aren't me, which made a very interesting experience.
Do you feel like you've spoiled anything for yourself, having listened to the character interviews? Yes and no.
I'm glad I didn't listen to it when we first met. I'm glad I waited because there's a lot of like Leo Fritsch, the way, the way his character is. I didn't realize he was supposed to be. I realize now that he's naive, but playing as Livy, that's not how Livy saw him. He just saw him as kind of an arrogant jerk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how Austin's playing it, but it makes sense. Yeah. Like, this is going to sound bad. Austin, don't listen to this. Leo Fritsch kind of has like little man syndrome a little bit so far in the episodes.
I get that.
He called you an asshole.
They have very clashing, which I think if they could just get over the fact that they have fundamental differently religious, I think they're actually the characters who are most alike.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
They're just so alike in so many different ways. They both have like the biggest chip on their shoulder. They both like are the responsible adults in the room sometimes. And they're both incredibly naive about certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And they just refuse to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's really good. And I think if Leo Fritsch was even slightly younger, I think Livy would actually really like him. Because Ziba is obviously like very young. Mm-hmm. And because Ziba is very young, Livy like excuses a lot of her actions, like, oh, she's like a kid. Obviously I have to take that into account. But because Leo Fritsch is an adult, he's like, I don't have to think of you as a person. Why would I have to think of that?
Yep. Yeah.
You're an adult. You should know things.
You should know the world by now.
You should know everything about the world. And why don't you think the way I do?
Mm-hmm.
How dare you?
Yeah. Well, then, like, on top of that, after you talk to the guards, there's this whole to-do about tracking the wolves, which I feel like I threw you all a giant bone with the goat just, like, making noise. But you found them, and you got into combat. And I think what is amazing about the combat is not only your Bane, which never once got used. Because
never. Never.
Was you sliding down in the dirt burn sliding. But yeah, what were you thinking when you like saw the map and all the wolves and you were like, we are level 1?
I was thinking I need to use my bardic inspiration. And then I forgot to use my bardic inspiration. That's what I was thinking.
Who would you have given it to?
Either Ziba or Anchor, probably. Maybe Leofritz, just because the episodes are out.
Yeah.
I think they only hit someone once by punching.
Yep.
Yep. Their holy fists.
Yes, but okay. This is going to be like a tangent a little bit, but I was listening to old episodes of Adventuring Academy, which is Dimension 20 DM Brendan Lee Mulligan's like conversations with other DMs. And the one that I just like happened to click on and listen to was all about failing as a player. And well, not all about that, but that was like one of the main points. And like how to roll that as a DM. And I am so happy that Austin is also a DM and like you all do such an amazing job of RPing even in those combat situations that like he took it upon himself to explain why he was rolling so low. You know, like my Shiria has forsaken me today, you know, just like making that dialogue. That way I wasn't put in like this weird situation as like the god of the world who like needed to come up with a reason why his character, like his roles are shit. It's like the interesting dynamic between like the dice and the DM, you know. Does that make any sense? Am I making any sense?
Yeah,
okay.
I also I think one of the best things, I'm also a DM and I DM for my group of friends. I think that's one of the funnest things, either explaining a crit 1 or a nat 1 or crit 20.
Yeah.
Or just trying to explain away how a seasoned group of adventurers tripped and landed on an arrow. How did they fail so spectacularly after like 20 years of experience or whatever?
Yeah, that's definitely gets more interesting as you level higher and higher.
Or I guess with Ziba, like 8 years of experience. I have no idea how old she is. I'm just guessing lower and lower.
That's not my information to share.
It's not.
But I'm super curious as to how long like Avis/Ziba is going to hold on to that. And like what is going, it's really interesting. We had a serious conversation before even our session zeros, the dream sessions, about whether or not it was okay for the age of her character to be out killing things.
Yeah.
And like running away from home.
I think it's really interesting because I also, when I heard her age, I was a little bit apprehensive, but I think it's a really cool subversion of because like there's always like a trope of media, like especially in anime, where like a 14-year-old goes and like saves the world and like defeats the monsters and stuff like that. But D&D, even though it's like ridiculous and fantastical, blah blah blah, kind of has to almost have this little tinge of realism because you are killing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to role play that. Like, there's real people role playing it constantly. So having to have a real person be like, oh, I'm murdering things and I am like in middle school
Mm-hmm.
or high school or however old she is, or 5. I don't know. I'm just going to guess lower. I'm just going to guess lower.
She's as tall as you, so I don't think she's 5.
I mean, she could have hit a. I don't know how orcs, half orcs, grow. Like, maybe they reach. Maybe she's not even half grown. Like, maybe she's gonna like be 12 feet tall. Maybe we only meet incredibly young orcs.
Yeah, that could be. What were your thoughts about just like the wolf fight in general as it progressed?
I thought it was I really liked how we were able to do very silly ways of counteracting things. Like, we got to slide down the hill. And I liked how, I don't remember her name, like Goat Lady, I'm just calling her. I know she's not really a goat lady.
I don't think you all ever got her name. You just...
We got her sister's name.
You did, yeah.
I made sure to copy paste or write down. Livy wrote down the flyer.
Yep.
I sometimes go back to my notes because I've been trying to write how he would write.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized he never gives Leo Fritsch a name. He gives everyone, like, he writes down everyone else's name, but he calls him the cleric, that one. And he's the only character in the entire campaign. I refused to write down his name.
Yeah. That makes sense right now, though.
It makes sense for their relationship, but I kind of forgot I did that.
Yeah. I'm super excited. So for people listening or that have been following, the next 2 episodes that are going to come out are bonus content because a couple players had family emergencies. So we literally have not played. The last session that we played ended with this week's ending of the episode of Livy and Avis finding all of that stuff at Oetta's house and going back to the drunken stump. And so, man, oh man, we're going to dive literally right into very intense things when we play. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Can I just say how I love this very tense and scary situation? And then we just stepped on one of the frog things as you were running away.
There were a lot of, peek into my brain. There were a lot of ways that you all were going to find out this information. And it really just, it's part of like the DM thing of like having the scaffolding, but not the like interior of the house, right? So yeah. I had the blueprints. I knew that I needed to give you the 2 pieces of information. 1, that Guinevere doesn't have a reflection. And 2, that there are these fiendish creatures in the forms of frogs and snails and shit following her around. And so I squeezed the first one in pretty accurately. And the second one, I just had to throw in there. And I don't know, I've actually done that before on accident, like walking, try to get into my apartment at night and like scrunched a frog, and it is horrible.
It's the worst feeling. Yeah. It's awful.
It's horrible.
I feel so bad.
But in this case, it didn't die. It just transformed into a crazy beast and yelled at Ziva as you all were running away.
Which is maybe the better experience.
Yeah.
I would honestly prefer that in real life.
Yeah.
It transformed into a weird demon and just started yelling at me. At least I know I wouldn't have killed it.
Yeah. But cool. You got we're skipping around, but I think it's fine.
Sorry.
It's okay. So we finish the wolf battle, and things get really intense, really fast, because there's this mama wolf who is hiding in the den, protecting these very young pups. And Livy has found out about this during the battle. He's trying to figure out what he can do to save these pups, save the mom. Anchor is intent on killing the mom. Not only that, but by the time you all make it down, you scare away the goat woman, and you don't know where she goes. And Ziba is has a wolf bite in her shoulder and is wounded. And the only person, the person kind of steering the ship in this moment is Anchor, because he has these lay on hands as a paladin, and also he's the one kind of instigating this secondary combat. What were you thinking? Or what was, how were you thinking you're feeling in that situation of navigating that as a player?
I was mostly nervous about, because I think it would make good drama if I was careful.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Because I know people can get very protective about their characters and about their decisions. Because D&D can be a very personal thing. So I was mostly just trying to stay true to who Livy is, who he's yes, a little bit of a goofy guy, but he's also very up his own butt about his own morals. I mean, he kind of has to be. He gave up everything to go search for truth and knowledge and whatever nerd stuff he's into. And I just didn't think him being a city boy who has no idea how the wilderness is, I just didn't think he would think that would be right. And I think he was kind of worried about Siva.
Yeah.
And I think he was really scared because they're all strangers. I think he was genuinely concerned about what would happen if Anchor pushed him. Because I don't know. Would Livy? I think he would have given in because he's not a physically strong dude. But he also doesn't know when to stop talking. And yeah, I think that was it. I think he just was trying to hope to get everything he wanted out of this situation with no compromises.
Yeah.
Which was keep the puppy safe, maybe the mom, and get Ziba help. Which she wanted to just leave, which obviously that wasn't going to be a thing that was going to happen.
Yeah, this has happened a few times. I'm actually really curious to talk to you about this, where you make the decision to have Livy walk away from something, and the rest of the party just completely ignores that. And then you're forced to either stay away and be silent for whoever knows how long, or to have Livy kind of recognize this and come back. And there was one of those moments where I pointed out that Livy would know that there's a healer in town. And you say, all right, Ziba, let's go to the healer. And then no one else follows. And so the party stays together. But what are you thinking in those moments, just as a player? Are you thinking it's not good gameplay to separate from the party? Or, what are your thoughts in those moments?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. I also just don't want to be the player who throws a tantrum and just does the thing I want to do because I think it's right. Because, it might be true to his character to do that, but that's not compelling audio, and that's not a thing that would make me a compelling human being. But also, practically, I think, he thinks he needs to stay in this group and be good with this group because that's how he's going to learn this information. So there's this delicate line of pushing what he thinks is right, but also needing to stay with these people because of this dream they had, which they got transported to a whole new plane of existence. So obviously, to learn about the Invisible War in My Share, he kind of needs to be around them. So there's this incentive to stay with the group and follow, which I think is very good.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, especially when I learned about Livy and Anchor and realized they're just not going to get along. It's one of the reasons I had this as a personality trait, like this need to know the truth, was because even if they're not going to get along, at the end of the day, Levy's going to stay with the group because he needs to stay with the group to get what he wants out of this whole ordeal.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it ended up backfiring because Livy was bit and knocked unconscious.
Yeah. If he had done what he thought was good, that probably wouldn't have happened. He would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. And then there's more arguing about what to do. And finally you're brought back with 1 hit point and told the only reason you're brought back is to carry things. Which, this whole episode is so tensious. And but I kind of love it because it's real. Right? Like, groups of people, especially newly formed groups of people that are forced together through this thing, like you said, this dream, this want for information to know what happened to them, aren't always going to get along, you know?
No, yeah.
And
none of them are friends.
Yeah. It's part of this podcast to explore human nature, at least for me. And I feel like this is maybe a hard episode to listen to because everyone's upset with each other, but also it's so real and so raw. And then we have that end conversation. We go back to town. You remember it's a keeper's day. Y'all are going to get paid. And we go back to the inn and Keg asks, what is a soul? This weird conversation where I have to very tactfully explain what a soul is in my world based on, Myth's point of view and culture to Keg. And Livy, I believe, was listening with Ziba. Mm-hmm. It was a tense one. It was intense.
Yeah, I absolutely adore Keg with all of my heart and soul, which he now knows about. Mm-hmm. I love interacting with him. I just love everything about that weird reptile boy's little heart. And I think he's maybe the best character. Like, even when there's not a party around, he can carry a conversation just because of how buck wild and weird he is. Mm-hmm. Which he was able to do, I think, pretty effectively well.
Yeah. Yeah. Karen's a great player. I love Keg too. I was nervous about his voice acting of Keg. Like, is this gonna hurt you? Been reassured that it's fine.
I can't. It just hurts to listen to. One of the reasons I did the Russian voice is because it's so easy and doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a voice actor in that way. I can throw pitch around, but I'm not great at accents or I can't do a
you're
monster
a fantastic
voice.
Singer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I've been listening to your band. You're so good.
Oh no.
You're so good.
Oh jeez. I'm just gonna
followed you. Now I'm listening to your stuff. Compliments.
Oh man. Anyway, so the next episode is pretty much just you and Ziba going on your own.
With a 1 hit point.
With 1 hit point.
With a 1 hit point.
I'm so curious if listeners realize this. Leah Fritsch does a good job at the beginning of being like, Livy, you're barely standing. I feel like you should take a rest. And you're just like, no.
Listen, man, he's still on that college wave. Like it's been a while since he's been in college, but he's still on the college wave. Like, I won't stop until I'm dead. I got finals. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I got so much homework.
Oh, geez. I didn't live that life when I was in college. I've always been, we talked a little bit in your interview about like gothness, but I've always been that like weirdo loner who just like sits in the park by herself and like reads books. That was me in college. I lived in a party house, but what's great about living in a party house is you can go downstairs, have a few drinks. I definitely was the person that would put water in my beer can so people wouldn't heckle me to drink more. And then when you're done, you just go up and lock the door and go to sleep.
Heck yeah.
And that was great. But
I'm not because I'm particularly I was the student who studied all the time, just because. So I'm autistic, so like I learn much slower than the average person. So it's like, to get the grades I wanted, I would just have to have no social life. That was just the reality.
Yeah.
To be able to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not for any love of studying or anything like that, but I was definitely the person who would like just be in my room studying until sunlight came up. That or just playing video games. And pretending to study.
You know,
I'm very responsible.
I played a lot of games in middle school and high school, and then I didn't play any games at all through college into like early adult years until my partner he's not even a gamer. He was just like, I'm just going to buy this PlayStation 4 from my friend in a few games. And then all hell broke loose again. And so I've just been playing a lot of Civ 6 on my Switch lately. Like, too much.
I'm so bad at that game, but I love it so much.
Same. So I have it on like the easiest mode. And I'm trying to do this is my Virgo-ness. Maybe you'll probably understand this. But I put it on the easiest mode, make sure all the settings are the same, and then just choose a random leader. And then I'm trying to win all 4 ways on that mode, and then I'll go up to the next one. We'll try to win all 4 ways on that one, and then the next one.
I may understand that very well. I play Pokemon sometimes, and I'm one of those weird people who are just like, I can do the same repetitive task for 1,000 times, and I find that relaxing.
Yep. I was also playing Hyrule Warriors for a while, which is just like a Zelda hack and slash.
Yeah.
And that's also very relaxing because you're just button mashing and like running up hills. At least that's what I do.
I played not so much anymore just because it's been a while, but I love playing Fire Emblem just for that reason.
Yeah.
Strategy, but with buttons.
Yeah. We're now on a gaming thing, but let's get through the last episode.
Nah, who needs to? There wasn't anything interesting or tense about that one. Just a filler. Just a real filler.
Well, first I fucked up and said walnut door as an indicator.
No, you didn't fuck up, but you just played 2 very stupid characters. We're like, what's a walnut? I don't know what a walnut is.
Yeah, I should have just like given it to you. I mean, Miff gave you directions.
This was way better. Don't encourage us. What are you doing?
Oh God.
Punish us. Like, this should not be rewarded. We're making bad decisions on purpose.
What were you thinking as I described like the door ajar and like someone clearly having broken into this place? You're like, oh fuck, I have 1 hit point and we're gonna fight something?
I I was like, oh shit, it's the religious people. And then I went and I'm like, oh, I have 1 hit point. Why did I do this? I can't stop now. I just have to continue doing this investigation thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bad idea.
And you have
But
Ziba with you.
Yeah, I have Ziba. But mostly I was concerned just because my own anxiety plays in my head. I was mostly just concerned about taking over the scene and making sure Zipa had her time to shine.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to worry about that. That's my job.
No, I'm a forever DM. I can't not do that.
It is a curse. Oh, I feel that too when I play.
I have to always be conscious of every other player and how they're enjoying everything.
Yeah, it is kind of a curse. But yeah,
so I wish I could be selfish.
You sneak in. You don't sneak in, but you go inside and you find this place just wrecked. You find the book. Ziba goes exploring. As I'm giving you like the long description of the book, did you already like have some ideas about what was going to be learned like here at the beginning of the campaign, or was it like, oh shit, this is where we're going? You know, like I'm really curious about your thoughts about.
I had no idea about anything. Mostly just because I was trying not to think about it. Because when I do think about things, I tend to like spoil myself. And I think it's a lot more fun if I try to think about things the way Livy does, which Livy in every single situation that something's at fault thinks it's the church's fault. So I think I'm like, oh, okay, this is the church's fault. They're somehow responsible for this.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how, but they are responsible.
Awesome.
Just because he's very mad, they refuse to give him information. They like gave him the Bible or whatever, like the basically the pamphlets and all the fun stuff, and he's like, you can have like the secret tomes you keep behind locked doors now. I'm like, no, who are you? No, you're just some nerd in a college. No. Are you going to join and work your way up? No, then no. And I think he became very bitter after that.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
Yeah. I love that. I love that dichotomy to the world of like the religious pursuit is still a scholarly pursuit. There is academia around it, but it's so different from the academic pursuits, like what Livy would go through or a wizard would go through, you know, those types of things. And it is kind of both sides keep things very much under lock and key, which is cool and interesting, especially for you as a lore bard. Like,
yeah, his whole thing is writing and spreading information and like singing it or playing it, and and there's this entire organization in which they don't like doing that.
Yep.
Which really grinds his gears.
Yep. Well, cool. I mean, what was the biggest like oh shit moment of that episode for you? In any capacity. Like whatever oh shit means to you.
I think the diary definitely. The shared diary specifically. The information in yes, but like also just the fact it exists and the fact that it was coded had me very. But also, and like I guess skipping a little bit, God, Ziba's reaction was so good, character-wise. It was so amazing. I had no idea what to do in that situation. That was maybe the biggest oh shit I've ever had in this camp. Like, how do I deal with this obviously very scared and frightened child, who has her entire world just broke a little bit. I really, I really wanted to, because I think it would be interesting drama, a little bit maybe stereotypical, I guess, is the tropey, to like hide things from the party and like work together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad we're not doing that, because I think this might be better drama. But I also think I don't think he could do it. I think like Livy for the first time is having to be responsible for another human being, which he has not been particularly interested in for his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have kids. He hasn't really had a romantic partner. He's just been responsible for his own well-being and safety. And for the first time, this is a young person who looks up to him and is expecting him to know what to do. And he's like, I can't take advantage of her. I can't do that. He just can't do that. It's just not in his nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, even if it's going to be I can't tell her to lie for me. I can't put her in this position because she's going to do it because she trusts me now. And that would be horrible and wrong. So even if it's going to cause a division, and even if it's going to get people angry at Livy specifically and maybe not go about this the way he wants it to, like he won't be able to like push this situation the way he wants it, he's going to have to do the very difficult, hard thing to try to be better.
Yeah.
Even if it stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. The true testament of that growth that happens between Livy and Ziba, because of those choices that you made to be candid with her, show at the very, very end of the episode where Avis literally says she's going to be more vulnerable with you now because of all of this. And she says, looks right at Livy and says, well, what would an adult do about where to sleep? And then she decides to room with Livy instead of sleeping in the barn again, which is monumental. Like, that's so huge. I'm
so proud of her.
I know. I loved this session. I literally pretty much did almost nothing. I mean, I just sat back and listened to like the amazing storytelling between you and Avis. And even like Cam and Leofritz just chiming in, just being like about the 2 apples, and Austin being like, "I like that form of measurement. It's a 2 bag of apples situation." I
hope we continue with the apples.
Yeah,
the apple form.
Last
and
question.
We shall not.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, yeah.
We'll not explain how the measurement goes or like what's it like. It's just we're just going to continue on doing it. And how dare you ask questions about how we measure it or how we do it? Mm-hmm. You should know by now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last question, just about the episode, so we can dive into some listener questions. When I described that Guinevere had no shadow, what you and Avis both went, you're like freaking out, but like, what were you thinking in your mind? Like, do you have any ideas what you think Guinevere is?
God, I hope she's a vampire. That's what my goth brain was like. God, I hope she's a vampire.
How would a level 1 party fight a vampire?
I don't know. I don't care. Vampires are cool.
Oh my goodness. It'd have to be like a
she's
baby.
Not, but I hope she's a vampire.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Awesome. Cool. Well, some listener questions for you on your gracious birthday. I don't know what that means.
Neither do I. I just feel like I needed to do something.
If your character were a tarot card, which card would they be? Do you know anything about tarot?
A little bit. I'm trying to, because I got really into it actually, like at the beginning of the pandemic, but I have a gooey brain. Um, um, this is gonna sound terribly edgy, but I think they would be death.
Mm.
Because death isn't like literally death, right?
Yeah.
At least from what I understand. It's both an end and a beginning, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that encapsulates him very well.
Mm-hmm.
At least in this stage of his life. He's been a professor at this college for like most of his life, not even like just most of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of him is ending in a very finalized way. Like I think I hinted at, like he called his fellow colleagues ignorant barbarians. There's no going back from that.
And Ziba said, "Why is that an insult?"
And he had no answer because he's very ignorant in his own way. Which I'm so glad she did that. I'm so happy. But also, I think like a new part of him is like, so maybe it could either be death or the Wheel of Fortune. I think either one, I think would encapsulate him very well. And one of the reasons I'm remembering all of this is because of Adventure Time, which had tarot cards, and I feel even more of a nerd than I already was with this Dungeons and Dragons podcast. You're welcome, listeners.
I love Adventure Time. So.
It's so good. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yep. I was geeking out over Steven Universe last night as well, which is another one of my faves. But cool. What are two of Levy's biggest pet peeves?
Can I just say leave? No, I'm joking.
I mean, you can.
I feel like that would be very he absolutely he hates when people are very dismissive about new ideas, which I think is somewhat hypocritical. But like I've tried to, like, he's very interested in Keg because Keg is a completely new person and just identity to him. And I think he gets very annoyed when people dismiss Keg. I don't even know if they're in character, they're not that close. Like, that's one of the reasons why he always chimes in with, especially Ziba. People, like, tend to dismiss her, and that annoys him. Because, like, she has a very, like, fresh idea, even if it's, like, a very naive one. She has a very fresh view of things. So that annoys him when, like, people tend to, like, shoot down new ideas. And also when people don't bother to, no. He hates it when people, you know what? Here's a funnier one. He hates it when people don't apply commas correctly.
Is he an Oxford comma guy?
He is, yeah. Which I'm not. I'm a garbage human being who doesn't do things right. But he would hate me. But he absolutely hates, like he would be grading a thing for his students, and it would really, he would want to, like, do them, like, he would really want to feel anyone who did commas wrong. He didn't, because he was a mediocre professor. But
cue the Vampire Weekend song. You know what I'm talking about?
A little bit. Yes,
I don't give a fuck about an Oxford comma. Yep.
Maybe that's exactly what I was into. Shh.
I just said it too. It's fine. It's fine. Cool. If Livy were in our world, in our time, what would his favorite movie be?
Um, I think he would say a really like I think he would say Blue Moon. I
Hmm.
think that's um and I think he would like that. Like I think he would say like Blue Moon or Get Out, which I think he would like. But I think it would be more accurate to say I think he would like Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok. I think that would be his favorite, but he wouldn't want to tell anyone because it's like a mainstream movie.
I love that so much. I was thinking it was going to be like Dead Poets Society or something, like very highbrow.
Yeah, like I think he wants to pretend he's extremely highbrow, but in reality he's a trash person with trash tastes.
Aren't we all?
Which it's not. He's wrong. Thor Ragnarok is a beautiful masterpiece, and he's just objectively terrible in that opinion of not being honest with himself.
I love that so much. All right, last question. Does Livy collect anything?
Um, blue handkerchiefs. He has a horrible, horrible blue handkerchief collection that he's forcing the entire party to help him on. It's really bad.
This came up on the first Manic Minutes.
Yeah.
With Leah Fritsch and Avis.
Yeah.
And they were chatting about, what was Livy doing with those handkerchiefs on the travel? Like, what was happening to them? And they were trying to role play for you, and I thought it was funny all the options they came up with.
I'm not saying. That's his own business.
I know, right? Very funny.
Just eats all of them. Just like, that's why we never see it. He just devours them. Handkerchief and all.
Marceline is an inspiration then, huh?
I think she just drains the color. I'm thinking more like he puts the entire thing in his mouth.
Mm.
Like a weirdo.
I love it.
Just eats it. And only blue handkerchiefs.
I love it so much. Well, cool. We have a few minutes left. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh god, I didn't think I'd have to do this.
You don't have to.
No, I think I'm joking. What was the hardest thing about? Because you tend to be pretty like open. Basically, me throwing whatever stupid ideas I have to the wall. How difficult was it, like juggling all of these very, very different personalities? Like, what did you like as a DM for a podcast? Was it different than a usual DM? I guess.
I don't know how to answer that question because I don't feel like I'm juggling them, which maybe is good. I don't know. I feel like every single one of our cast members, regardless of their characters' personalities or thoughts and feelings, are in it for the group. They're in it for the story. And so even in the plot thickens, the really tense episode, I think that's which one it was. You all did such a great job of just like moving on from that and metering yourselves. I don't know. That's a really good question. I feel like as long as everyone has space to create in this world, then it's fine. You can have as big a personality as you want. And that's what I really love about DMing. And everyone's just great and takes care of their own shit, which is lovely.
Yeah. I've been curious for a while. Where did the idea for Utopia come from? Like the world?
I have no idea, Ed. It just spilled out of my brain. Literally just spilled out of my brain. And then as I was creating it, I realized the parallels between it in American Gods. And then other players of the game would be like, oh, this is kind of like American Gods. And I'm like, well, Neil Gaiman is my favorite writer, so that kind of makes a little bit of sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I've always been a writer. Like half a novel that I've been sitting on that I've just peck at sometimes. And it's always like stream of consciousness for me. And what's really great about translating that from like a written story into a D&D game is I don't have to have all the answers. I just have to have like the points, like we were talking about earlier, like Guinevere and her reflection and the creatures.
Yeah.
And then you guys get to do all the heavy lifting.
Isn't that... When I was a DM, I used to like my first few D&D sessions, I tried to like plan for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really easy pitfall to fall into, like that all new DMs do that. And I very quickly gave up. Because there's just things players are just not, you're just not going to be able to account for because people are people and you're never really going to get a 100% grasp on their personal, like, people are just going to do things you're just not going to expect.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There's a big part of that right now with our campaign and recording of one of the player characters leaving the campaign and a new potential long-term player character joining. And they have to join at a very specific place. And so they're going to be sitting in on our sessions essentially until that time comes.
Nice.
And like just they're also a DM, which makes it cool. So they understand like the serendipity of it. But yeah, you cannot plan for shit. You have to just let it go. I was the same way. I used to like make a certain number of NPCs for every location and give them all names and like at least one trait or something that they like loved or focused on, or a piece of information that could be gleaned from them. I know, I'm just like, you go to the bar and there's a shitload of people there who you want to talk to, which shoots me in the foot in our bonus content episodes. It's really hilarious, the inconsistencies in names between episode 1 and episode 2. But we planned that in like an hour, so. Yeah.
Sometimes in my D&D sessions, characters will just have totally different accents because I'll forget their accents.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Between sessions.
Well, cool. Thanks so much, Edward, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah, of course. And I'll see you soon.
Yes. This Thursday. I remember things.
Yeah, Thursday. Thanks,
Yay.
listeners.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for entertaining me on my birthday.
Yes.
All right. Bye, guys.